Welcome to our Your Expert in France podcast, your go-to source for legal insights and advice. I'm Fiona Mougenot, and today we're diving into the complex world of international legal matters. Our focus? What happens if you're living in France and facing divorce or the unfortunate event of a spouse's death? To guide us through these scenarios, we have a special guest with us, Ambroise Chartier, Notaire in Paris, with specific expertise in international law. Welcome, Ambroise.
Thank you, Fiona. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start with divorce. From my experience, I've often seen foreign companies relocating their employees to France who tend to overlook the impact of civil status and the importance of consulting a notaire. Now, Ambroise, to start with, I'd like to explain about your curious profession for our Anglo-Saxon listeners who might not be familiar about what is a notaire. In France, a notaire has nothing to do with notary public. He's a lawyer more aligned with a solicitor, primarily dealing with estate planning, inheritance, and real estate law. Now we have a clearer picture, Ambroise, I would like to share a short story. Tom Fellows, a British national, was transferred to France as operation manager of a large construction company. Tom moved with his wife Sally, 10 years younger, and also a British national, and their 3 children. The Fellows had lived in their 15 years of married life in Bristol, in a townhouse that they owned, and had decided to rent during their assignment to rural Brittany. I might add that Sally had given up her job. She did not speak French, and the children are all at school. The other day, Sally gave me a call. She said that she'd had enough of France, and she was considering leaving Tom, which leads me to ask, what are the considerations that English and international people should have if a divorce occurs in France?
Well, divorce in France involves various legal aspects. First and foremost, it's essential to understand the French legal system. France operates under a system of community property, where assets acquired during the marriage are generally considered joint property. In your story, a couple married in England but having lived in France for more than 10 years could find themselves automatically subject to the French system of community property without even being aware of it.
Oh my goodness.
And to avoid it, it's essential to plan ahead and make a provision for the choice of the applicable law. And this is typically an area where notaires in France can provide assistance.
And what about individuals with international backgrounds or assets outside of France?
It's a great point. In international cases, jurisdiction can be a very complex matter. It's crucial to determine which country's jurisdiction will apply to the divorce and how international treaty may impact the distribution of assets. It's very important to seek legal advice early in the process to anticipate these complexities.
So now moving on to a more sensitive topic, what if one's spouse passes away living in France?
In the case of a spouse's death, understanding inheritance law in cross-border context is very important. France and the UK have specific rules regarding the distribution of assets and the determination of the applicable law, and it may not align with the law of the deceased person's domicile. So it's very important to have to draw up a will, preferably one that considers both French and international legal implications, rather than having a separate will for each country.
And what about the implications on tax for inheritances in France?
Inheritance tax is a crucial factor, if not the most important one to consider. Fortunately, there is a tax treaty between France and England to avoid double taxation. In France, inheritance tax is calculated on the share received by each heir, not on the whole estate. And the tax rate varies depending on the relationship between the heir and the deceased. Specific disposition can be made in advance to reduce and limit the inheritance tax in France.
Well, thank you, Ambroise, for shedding light on these extremely complex legal matters. I can confirm that whether our clients are facing divorce or dealing with the loss of a loved one, it is really crucial to consult a French notaire experienced in international matters. Understanding both French and international law will help our clients to navigate these challenging situations with clarity and confidence. Thank you, Ambroise, for joining us today. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in to our Your Experts in France podcast. Remember, legal matters can be intricate, but with the right guidance, you can navigate through them successfully. That wraps up today's episode. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, take care.